I don't know what baby needs to hear this in this moment. It is December the 22nd. Christmas is right around the corner. I'm going to need you to breathe. Okay? God chose you for this. I was in here and I was cleaning up. And if you go on my page, you will see a video. It was a picture of when I first, like, my business was only my imagination. And I said, you know what? I'm going to print my logo out. I'm going to put it on my wall. And I said, let me take a picture and make it look like my mom was handing me the tubes, because my mom worked in the lab as well. And I looked at that picture every day until I got bold enough to send an email, apply for a business license. I went and got the lab coat. I took pictures and I spoke my business into existence, right? But she passed away when I was 11. And I was in here and I was going through some things. And God has a way of, I call them hugs. He has a way of giving us hugs. And so I was looking through like old papers, and I came across a paper of when I started phlebotomy school back in 2014. And it was actually her birthday, January the 9th, on my papers. And I looked a little deeper and I started looking through my business plan portfolio, and I had some pictures of my mom in the back. And I got that feeling right there. That feeling of when you're grieving so bad that you can't swallow. Ooh. And I was put back into the mindset of how it was when I was a child, and that whole week of her sitting up and people coming, but I had a headache from just crying and screaming so hard and so bad, and didn't want to eat, didn't want to go to sleep, because if I would have went to sleep and I woke up, that meant that this wasn't a dream. But baby girl, baby boy, I'm gonna need for you to breathe. I feel it again for you. God doesn't do drastic things like that for no reason. I feel like that's an automatic. I know a lot of people ask, how do you know if you're chosen? And how do you know if God chose you to do something major in the land? I feel like that's an automatic confirmation. Especially if you had a good relationship with your mom and you was just a child and like you was always glued to her hip. If he took your mom, you better believe he got something major planned for you. And I'm not telling you to not hurt. I'm not telling you to not scream. I'm not telling you to not grieve. There was plenty of nights where I would just crawl into bed with my grandma, or she'll be cooking and she'll look at me and she'll say, just come on. And I'll just scream, I want my mama, I want my mama. And no one would be there but me and her when we had those moments. And she told me, she said, I can't tell you why he took her, but you will understand it better. We will understand it better by and by. And a few years ago, when it clicked, and when I realized why I had an attitude problem as a teenager, and everything started coming together, grandma was gone. I couldn't call her up and say, hey, grandma, it clicked. I see why. I see why he chose me. But I can almost see her smiling, like I told you. So I'm here to tell you that it might not make sense today, and it might not make sense tomorrow. And next year around this time, holiday season, you may be angry, and it may not make sense then. But I promise, if you don't give up, if you don't allow your mind to become a playground for the enemy, and you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have people around you that make you feel like it's your fault. You're gonna wake up some days and feel like, man, I'm just being tolerated by this person that's supposed to be loving me and taking care of me. They may just want you for your money. They may just want you around for a season while they're feeling guilty. And then after a while, you'll become a burden. But it's not your fault. It's a part of the process. I always think about, and it was recently because I've never compared myself to Queen Esther. I've always looked at Joseph. I've always looked at David when it came to him and Saul. I always thought about Joseph, like I said, and his brothers. But here recently, and I think God had it that way for a reason. I'm in my soft girl era, taking care of myself, loving who I see in the mirror, just being that princess, that queen, you know. But she was an orphan. She was. So I'm pretty sure she had those moments growing up to where, oh my goodness, you know, I don't have a mom, I don't have a dad, you know, and I'm just feeling tolerated. But God knew even then she was going to be a queen. So hold your head up. Lord, I pray that this gets to who it needs to get to. To that motherless child here in 2025 that feels like they can't go on because mom isn't here or grandma isn't here. Dad forsake you. Dad is confused. Dad don't know what to do with you. I pray that this video makes your day. And I'm going to be obedient because God has been telling me to create communities. To create communities for children and even adults who don't understand, you know, and just giving a safe space to vent and to love on one another and to share our journey. Because people are leaving here left and right. And I know there's so many motherless children out there that just need a community to love on them and nurture that queen, that king, that president, that entrepreneur, that even greater mother. It takes God for you to be an amazing mom and never had the guidance of one to love. Right? So somebody needs to nurture that future mom in you. So I'm going to pray that God helps me be more obedient when it comes to creating that safe space. Love y'all. Bye.